You know the Discovery Prize. We've been awarding this for many years, and there's no point in stopping what works well. It's 25,000 euros that will be awarded to a winner at the end of the week. Continue to work. We have confided the nomination of 2 artists to 5 nominators. You know the nominators. I'm going to call them up here. They were also the members of the jury of the book prize. So I'll call up again Krzysztof, Candrowicz, Louise, Clements, Fannie, Escoulen, Jacquet, and Francesco Zanot, who will be coming up here to sit on the chairs which lined up there. The LUMA Foundation is the main partner of this Discovery Prize, and in a few moments we're going to begin with Krzysztof, Candrowicz. They will each have 2 minutes to present their nominee. You will see the photos on the screen, and if you haven't yet voted, it will no doubt help you to make a choice. It's over to you.
Anna Orlowska's narrative has been always beyond reality. She has been creating her own distinctive photographic and cinematic language. Her works are touching the transcendent spaces. She's expressing what's invisible in daily life. She seeks for hidden meanings and subconscious states of mind, fears, delusions, and fantasies. Leakage, the title of the work, is a surrealistic image of society where representation of reality is covered by sharp layer of feelings and dreams. She used stage photography as it would be a painting to release her imagination and obsessions. The Shilo group was founded in Ukraine in 2010 by Sergei, Vlad, and Vadim. They were in love with Boris Mikhailov's photography. They wanted to continue his work and become the third generation of Kharkov School of Photography. Since the very beginning, they were involved in political and economical changes of their country. As Sergei said, if everything was perfect in our country, we would never become photographers. They don't want to create photographic images to simply talk about photography. They want to work and testify on life. Their work is a political and humanistic manifesto. Their work is a way of expressing their opinions, feelings about Ukrainian crisis. They want to talk about past, document the present, and influence the future.
Lisa Barnard is a fantastic photographer based in the UK. She's focused on the relationship between the military, the entertainment industry, technology, as well as the psychological effects of conflict. The work here, Hyenas in the Battlefield, Machines in the Garden, exposes the network of connections within remote warfare, such as drones, their manufacturers, operators, and post-traumatic stress disorder therapy, including virtual reality and even smells from the field. Through the work, we're made aware of how war is now conducted from the office by people that Lisa terms bored witnesses. The work shifts from screens to landscapes, from Las Vegas to Pakistan, from Waziristan to Hollywood. The Machines in the Garden highlights the American nostalgia versus contemporary machine technology. The Hyenas in the Battlefield looks at the corporations that keep the US soldiers in the loop but off the ground. Lisa makes us aware of these simultaneous realities so that in the process we appreciate how precious and fragile our own relative peace is. The Institute of Critical Zoologists was set up by the very talented Singaporean artist Zhao Renhui. His work looks at the many ways that humans are altering the natural world, and the series, A Guide to the Flora and Fauna of the World, is a huge body of research collated over many years. We can see animals and plants inside or outside of the lab, such as tomatoes containing fish genetics, venomous cabbage, glow-in-the-dark squirrels, and square apples. He questions what evolves when bees become dependent on caffeine, seeking these drops of nectar from factory waste. And he uses UV photography to show how flowers and birds communicate, to illustrate how little we know about nature by looking with our own human eyes. This project is based on experiments and proposals by scientists and his own imagination. He reminds us that scientific developments have been made possible from what was previously believed to be impossible. The project is an ongoing journey to understand the human and animal relationship and asks us to be curious, but also suspicious about the natural world.
Pauline Fargue
is a performer, video maker, but her work is above all caused by photography. For the past 15 years, these pictures have been taking place in notebooks, private diaries and archives related to her family life, her love life, her social life. The notebooks in which she puts down her words, her meetings, the stories, the pictures that she folds, her sticks, cuts to bring them out in thousands of pages where each photograph contaminates the other, both a journal, method of archiving, and a collective. Pauline Fargue's work shows a constant work where banal controls strange. The arbitrary stands side by side with rituals and is perpetually present. For the first time, Pauline Fargue delivers up this personal archive, and together we have invented a brand new exhibition for the Rencontres d'Arles. We are immersed in a technological era where we absorb and spit out the pictures. The video pictures that we consume and create to make us belong to this regime. We are the witnesses and the actors of our times. Remember, he's engaged in the new Spanish scene, has this installation with a visual regime created around 3 recent projects. Century is a series where political figures have been photographed with flashes on full power during the electoral year of 2011 in Spain. The pictures of Toro Machia screen captures have allowed us to gather together this material on internet. Los Tiros d'Azizare examines the construction of a historical recital through television. Its subject, the abdication of the one Carlos I king and the proclamation of the Philippe VI king in 2014, is observed by the bias of a series of photographs drawn from the live transmission of the ceremony by the first live channel in Spain, television channel in Spain. Delphine Chanet was born in 1969 in Paris. She is a fashion photographer who usually publishes her pictures in the press, and in particular in the magazine, of which she is one of the first major photographers. Her favorite subject is that of childhood and teenagehood. The sequence that you are looking here is related to the cinema. It's composed of shots taken outside where we see a group of young girls going off to conquer space with the bodies of heroes or future heroes. They are invincible and fragile, rebellious, of course, with the and the group is the second. The group comes well after the family, and it's a question of the initiative right. It progresses through the landscape, like in the Minecraft video game, which just is constantly unrolling, and the question of finding your place in the world and making your way. This series also includes portraits of teenagers shot in the studio. It's the shadow of each crouched in their room and aware of all of the dangers. There's something primitive to see these teenagers on the rocks, and a certain animal nature to see them in the shadow, crouched down like little vampires. Well, it's not a social document, but a constructed reality, just like this dead nature that reveals a decor with pastel colors of a child's bedroom with red color, like an access to another more intriguing and maybe more violent world. Photography condemns them to eternal youth and to the memory of this intensity when life shifts to adulthood. Omar Victor Diop was born in 1980 in Dakar, Senegal, an inheritor of the heir of the famous African photographers such as Mama Cassie Sidikeka. His aesthetics is inspired from the works of Annie Bekovic or Jean-Paul Gaudin. He's presenting for the first time as a whole the series Diasporas. This was inspired in Malaga in Spain, where he discovered the power and the majesty of the portraits of the Baroque period. For Diasporas, so Diop becomes a narrator and composes 18 self-portraits. The artist is reinterpreting the destiny of African figures outside of Africa between the 15th and 19th century, during which trade became more intense thanks to maritime trade. They are emissaries, diplomats, political leaders, engineers, former slaves, whose destiny deserves to be looked at once again through the eyeglass of that Diop reconstructs in a facetious manner. It's also a contemporary aspect of football, the feet, ball, haircut, whistle, and even the red card. No doubt to remind people that Africans have more media coverage today thanks to sports, and his vocabulary is related to the Baroque and football. And here the artist is underlining a duality. Just like these champions, these African public figures had a life of glory and very often found themselves in to be foreigners. Through these self-portraits, Diop is playing on this paradox of the game is another, which was dear to Arthur Rimbaud.
Paola Pasquaretta investigates the proximity between photography and other disciplines, especially sculpture, considering every single print as an installation piece in the space. The project that Paola is showing here in Arles is her latest one, and it's focused on volcanoes. It's divided into 4 parts. First of all, there's a group of little soap sculptures reproducing 6 Italian volcanoes. Then some photographs capture the shapes of the same volcanoes made in foam. Thirdly, another sculpture is made with a piece of an actual airplane covered with gray material which resembles ash. And this is a clear reference to the Slandlik volcano eruption that a few years ago almost tilted the flight traffic all over Europe. And last thing is a big picture of a still life with a vase and some flowers, again under a layer of gray material. All of these objects interact with each other in a non-linear narrative. They do complete each other, but it's also a sort of a battle between them in terms of durability, because they are all kind of temporary. There is soap, foam, ash, with photography only claiming for eternity. Finally, the volcano is a metaphor for photography itself. It flattens all differences on a 2-dimensional surface, but at the same time, it creates a brand new reality. The Cool Couple is an Italian artistic duo. The project they are exhibiting here is a new installation focusing on a very specific subject, that is beard, which works like a sort of an excuse to talk about other arguments. There's a performance with an actual barber at the center of the room shaving anybody who'd like to be shaved. There are barber clothes with various kinds of beards printed on them. And there are 3D printed busts of well-known bearded people like Tutankhamun, Fidel Castro, and the last one you'll see here is Alex South. Through beards, this work raises many different issues. It has to do with fashion, because beard styles change radically in the course of time, from ancient Greece to nowadays hipsters. It has to do with virility, because beard is a symbol of masculinity, but it's also the most distinguishing trait of Conchita Wurst. It has to do with politics, since, for instance, Jews and Muslims can be identified by their beard styles. And as a matter of fact, in the US, the number of bearded men largely decreased after the 9/11. And finally, it has to do with stereotypes, because we pretend to distinguish the philosopher or the terrorist through their beards, and that's quite alarming.
I would like the artists to join us up here on the stage. Anna Orlowska, the Shilo group, Lisa Barnard, Robert Zhao Renhui, Pauline Fargue. Please come up.
Julián Barón,
Delphine Chanet, Omar Victor Diop, Paola Pasquaretta, and the Cool Couple. Thank you to the 5 nominators. I would like to present all of them to you so that you can see who they are in flesh. And above all, so that you can give them a big round of applause. Really, the nominators, you can join them up here.
Merci.
Thank you. The Discovery Award has existed for many years. You're familiar with this. It's supported thanks to the generosity of the LUMA Foundation. Wait a minute, maybe. For the past few days, we had the suspense animation. So at the end of this suspense, give us a name. Missed again. Yeah, we'll have to practice this. And the winner is Pauline Fargue, nominated by Pauline. Where is Pauline Fargue? Pauline. Well done.
Bravo, Pauline.
Well done, Pauline.
Bravo.
Well done, really. Pauline Fargue, who's joining us with Fannie Escoulen, her nominator, and it's not Pauline, it's Stephanie. Congratulations.
Bravo, Pauline.
Well done, Pauline. May I give you a kiss? Thank you, Sam.
Vous pourrez tous embrasser Pauline.
You'll all be able to give Pauline a kiss. So I can't see you because the light is shining in my eyes. So the first person I would like to thank is Fannie, because Fannie did some tremendous work with me. And my dear ones who are in the pages of the book. I'm very moved, so I'm going to leave her the floor. Thank you. Well done. Thank you, all of you, for your votes. It's wonderful. Thank you, Pauline, for your talent and your incredible generosity, and above all, your trust. Nothing else to say, but a little girl called Susan Meiger accompanied us, and we dedicate this prize to her. Well, we'd like to remind you that the winner wins a grant of €25,000. Thank you, President. See you next year, 4th of July. No, tomorrow. Press conference at 9 o'clock. €25,000 for the winner of the prize. And that's it.